Okay, let's unpack this. We're not looking at your typical consumer gear today. Nope. We're taking a deep dive into something pretty specific. The Kramer TAVOR-8-T. That's an 8-inch high-performance powered ceiling tile speaker. Professional audio stuff.
Exactly. And our goal here isn't just reading specs. We want to synthesize why this piece of hardware matters in, professional AV setups. So fundamentally, it's a two-way speaker, separate drivers for lows and highs,
Right.
and it's powered. Got a built-in 40-watt Class D amplifier, which is kind of important.
Hold on. Powered.
I think.
Okay, but why does the Class D part matter so much, especially if this thing's just sitting up in a ceiling grid?
Well, the Class D amp is actually really key there. It's all about efficiency, much higher efficiency compared to older amp designs, and critically, much lower heat generation. Think about it. You stick an amp in a tight ceiling space, maybe not great ventilation. Reliability becomes paramount.
Makes sense.
Ugh.
Less heat, less risk of failure over time.
Precisely. This design helps guarantee performance without that thermal risk. And the whole thing, the dimensions are made to fit standard ceiling tiles, like 23.6 by 23.6 inches, roughly.
Okay, got it. Now, the materials seem pretty high-end. Let's talk about that 8-inch woofer. Kevlar cone, rubber surround. Kevlar sounds expensive, like something you see in high-performance car audio.
It is a premium material, yeah.
Yeah.
But that Kevlar choice is directly tied to durability and accurate sound reproduction, which connects right back to that long service life idea.
So you install it once and forget it,
What's
ideally.
the goal? Kevlar is super rigid, cuts down distortion, plus it holds up really well against things like, humidity changes you might get in big commercial buildings.
Right. Now, the high-frequency part is interesting. Not just one tweeter. It's got four.
Mm-hmm.
4.8-inch titanium dome tweeters, and they pivot.
Mm-hmm.
4 seems like a lot. Is the idea here that an installer might actually need fewer speakers overall in a big room because these cover so much ground? Do you save cost that way?
You've hit it exactly. That's the whole philosophy behind what they call K-Toverage ESD equals sound dispersion. Those 4 pivoting tweeters, made of titanium, which is light and stiff for crisp highs, they work together to give almost 180 degrees of sound dispersion.
Wow, okay. Nearly 180 degrees. That is massive coverage. Really changes how you'd plan speaker placement. And the numbers seem to back up that strategy of clarity and coverage, not just loudness. Frequency response is 80 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Pretty solid range.
Yeah.
Sensitivity's 87 dB SPL.
Yeah, and that 87 dB sensitivity, it's important for clarity in these distributed audio systems. It's not about making it painfully loud. It means you get really good coverage and, crucially, speech intelligibility without pushing that internal 40-watt amp super hard, which, again, boosts reliability and keeps the sound clean.
Okay, so beyond the sound itself, there's flexibility built in too, right? With the controls, seems like it's ready for complex setups.
It definitely is. The TAVOR-8-T gives you 3 independent input level trimmers, plus a master volume trimmer. So yeah, great for complex zones, like maybe mixing a microphone feed with background music or something. But it does mean the installer needs to know their stuff.
Right, it needs careful calibration on-site. It's not exactly plug and play for a novice.
No, definitely a tool for the pros.
And speaking of pros, the physical design seems thoughtful for the installers. The grille uses magnets, but it's also secured with screws. Safety first. That magnetic part probably makes access quicker for maintenance down the line, though.
Absolutely. Saves a bit of time, which always adds up on a big job.
Okay, so moving beyond the nuts and bolts of the speaker itself, let's talk business. Who's selling this, and what's the deal around it? Our sources mention HDTV Supply, says they're a top-quality store rated by Google Shopping. Been around 24 years.
Yeah, the vendor context is pretty important here because it starts to frame the total cost of ownership, the TCO. So the list price, the MSRP, is $795. But it looks like the current price is $636.
Still a chunk of change for one speaker.
It is initially, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to see it as a long-term play. They also mentioned it's TAA compliant.
TAA compliant. What does that actually mean for someone buying these, like for a big office building or something?
Good question. TAA compliant basically means it meets rules for government procurement. It has to do with where the product is made or significantly changed, so it's often a requirement for federal projects or government installations. It signals it's suitable for those kinds of big, formal jobs.
Okay, so it opens doors for certain types of contracts, but the really standout part, the big takeaway here, seems to be the support package. Free shipping, okay, 7-year warranty, that's pretty substantial. But then this, free lifetime telephone, chat, text, fax, and email tech support, lifetime.
Right. That's the bit that really jumps out. We've talked about the high-end components, Kevlar, titanium, the design for longevity, but this lifetime support promise from the vendor, it kind of changes the whole value proposition. It seriously minimizes the risk of headaches or downtime for whoever owns the system, potentially for decades.
So, putting it all together, you've got premium audio components designed for the long haul. Paired with this almost unprecedented level of vendor support, it really shifts how an installer might think about the investment.
Exactly. Which brings us to a final thought for you to consider. Does this kind of lifetime support commitment fundamentally change how we should value specialized AV gear like this? Does that $636 sticker price become almost secondary when weighed against a potential guarantee of near zero long-term support costs and operational risk? Something to mull over.